Our next agenda item is the blueprint update by Dr. Sampson, Dr. Sanchez.
Good afternoon, President Cousins, Dr. Townsell, members of the board. My name is Joe Sampson III. I am the implementation coordinator for Blueprint and Maryland Leads Grant. And with me, I have Dr. Melanie Sanchez, 2018 Teacher of the Year for Calvert County. And she is going to be joining me to talk through some updates and her perspective. And when we get to that point in the presentation, then she'll jump in. So our goals for today will be to give you an expert review team update and overview, and then our national board certification update and overview. So having presented the expert review team's process previously, this slide is just a reminder of the timeline for the ERT project for this school year, with the fall semester being a continuation of the pilot and the spring semester being the official school reviews, which will start in January. During the last state board meeting, Superintendent Chowdhury discussed the methodology for school selection and a revision of the selection process using the three criteria that you see here on the slide, being largest learning loss, lowest performing, and learning gaps. While the data and selected schools is not yet public, we anticipate that information to be made public once schools and districts are informed by MSDE. It is also emphasized that high-performing schools could be on the list if school data shows a large achievement gap between groups of students. According to the state statute, beginning in July 2025, schools and districts can request school reviews, but in the time leading up to 2025, MSDE is going to communicate that process with districts regarding that school review request process. So in the fall of 2022, MSDE will continue that process that began in the spring by selecting a sample of schools from each of the three criteria to visit between October and December of this year. Pilot continuation initially included just 2 schools for the fall, but the goal now will be to conduct 8 to 12 pilot reviews while ensuring that schools visited are geographically diverse as well as diverse by school type, school size, and demographics. So for future deployment, starting in the 2023-24 school year, MSDE will be required to review a minimum of 10% of the schools across the state annually. Schools will be visited each year based on 5 factors of most recently available data, that being largest learning loss, lowest performing, lower performing, highest performing, and a random selection from all other schools, with adjustments for school level and geography to capture a representative sample of schools across the state. The revised methodology for future school selection will be published with the submission of the July 1st, 2023 Expert Review Team Deployment Plan, and data will be run annually. So the next steps in the process are to continue the pilot in the fall with the expansion of the pilot to up to 12 schools, with the official review starting in early 2023. MSDE will begin reaching out to schools selected for the pilot continuation, and MSDE is continuing to revise the expert review team rubric to ensure blueprint requirements prevail throughout the review process and provide training to ensure calibration of the expert reviewers. So in this next piece, I'm just going to summarize where we are with what we're doing regarding National Board certification in Calvert County and how National Board is growing in our county. And then Dr. Sanchez will provide further information regarding NBC. So currently, we're working with HR to help candidates through the document submission process, and will provide NBC facilitators to assist staff through the National Board process. We provide staff support and information, as well as access to resources on Schoology and the National Board website. Currently, National Board certified teachers have even volunteered to help in any way that candidates may need assistance. This is very exciting for our county, and proof of the growth of National Board certification, not only in the state of Maryland, but right here in Calvert County. We currently have 13 teachers eligible for the salary increase for their national boards, and close to 60 teachers who started their National Board certification journey last year. We had, and additionally, we are scheduling monthly support meetings where teachers have a chance to gather and share ideas and ask questions to get feedback from each other as a cohort. Yesterday, we had our initial interest and information meeting for National Board certification, and there were close to 62, there were actually 62 registered participants and close to 50 who attended, and we already have close to 30 teachers who have indicated they are going to pursue National Boards beginning this year, and another 30 who are still undecided, but leaning toward pursuing National Board for this year. The above slide depicts powerful data from a study conducted at Mississippi State University involving kindergarten and third grade students and the impact of National Board certification on students in Mississippi. The data shows that students are 31% more likely to be proficient on the kindergarten readiness assessment if they have a teacher with NBC, and third graders are 11% more likely to score proficient on the MAP assessment. There are a few selected studies featured by National Board regarding the effectiveness of National Board certified teachers and improving students' performance. Currently, this information is not available from Maryland, but our current state superintendent is anticipating getting this rolling for our state and should have data in the next couple of years.
Sorry, a rookie move here. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm here to share a little bit about my experience with my application with National Board. So when I was thinking about how I would talk about this, a major commitment came to mind, because this is not something that you sign up for a class and see how it goes. It's something where you completely commit. All right, help me with this. I don't have this in my library. Okay, great. So I would recommend most people who ask me to apply for National Board. I often have conversations with teachers about this, but there are some key questions related to family and commitment and where they are in their career. So if you look at this list, maybe you have an idea about what my personal motivation was. I see some head shaking. And the truth is, I like a challenge. Having my students grow is non-negotiable. Improving my skills is non-negotiable, because every time I get it right in my classroom, something changes, right? And I have a new challenge. And then finally, the salary increase is always helpful for all of us. But the truth is, all of those were motivators for deciding to go for my National Board. And these are the children who survived it with me. So this was my 4th grade class in 2006, 2007. Oh my gosh, I love them all. I still stay in contact with quite a few of them and their families. So many stories. That's for another time. But this is the class whose parents agreed to let me do it. They had to give permission. And it was pretty rigorous when you look at all the different things and you say, oh, looks easy. Set of standards. I do all these things every day. I have a great team. I work in a great county. It shouldn't be hard. I'll just follow the rules. I'll follow what they give me. Shouldn't be a problem. Can't be hard. So these were the components, looking at content knowledge, differentiating, your teaching practice in your environment is so important. It's ever changing. You're always trying to be stronger. And then I think component 4 is key to note, really being effective and reflecting on what you do as an educator, right? So it's not just teaching in isolation. So, and there also was so on the side there was a computer assessment and 3 portfolio entries. It's kind of like getting a syllabus to a course just dropped in your lap in a big old binder. It was a lot at the time. And this is what happened. I failed. So this was my letter that I received. I did everything I thought I could. I tried really hard. I worked with people that were also getting it. And I missed the passing score by 8 points. I'm not going to lie, I cried in the shower. I also want to note that 2 of the 5 teachers that year passed. So it was very rigorous, it was very intense. However, we were solo. We were working through this as best we could. It was pretty new. And so here is my retake. And this is just an example of one of the components. I will say a key part of National Boards is being a really good writer based on how National Board expects you to write. It's kind of like figuring out your professors and what is best according to their rubrics. So this is just an example of one of my components because I was able to retake and voila, there it is. Thankfully, I was able to complete the process. So that was a huge relief on my part because I had invested in the lives of my students. I had asked the county to support me and believe in me, and it was hard to have to regroup. But hey, look at Abraham Lincoln, right? He did too. All right. So this, I think, is really key. The certification is not something that you just sign up for. I've spoken to a couple teachers after they met with Dr. Sampson, and I really believe it's something that each of the teachers have to know. You have to chase after it. You have to make time for it. You have to give things up for it. But I did go ahead and renew in 2018. I worked with a colleague. We had calendar work sessions. I worked with people at my school, including the counselor. We edited mercilessly because we knew that writing component was key and submitted. And thankfully, this time I didn't cry in the shower, but I actually passed the first time. So that collaboration piece is key, and I'm very thankful to know that at the state level, through MSDE, as well as at our local level, there are many things in place so that teachers can successfully complete this process. But I do want to know, at this point it was 10-year renewal, it's currently 5. So that's something else to keep in mind. So what are the benefits? Why would someone even take something else on as an educator? There's a huge community support, lots of partnerships, web pages. It's kind of deciding what works for you as an educator and what you need. It's almost to the point there's too much to use, so you pick very specifically for yourself. Smartbrief.com, I get those publications daily, lots of different resources. Now, something that's a misunderstanding about this, although I'm National Board certified, it doesn't mean I can go and apply somewhere else and automatically teach in that state. It's a supplement to my credentials that I have. There are 25 options for being National Board certified, and mentors are provided. I know that different counties do things differently. This past, what are we in? We're in fall. This past spring, I was a mentor for 2 of our National Board teachers through MSDE. However, it was only 5 hours. 5 hours, we were just getting started. So that was a short amount of time. And of course, salary increases are always helpful. Overall, I definitely would say it was intense, very intense. Please know that piece. And rewarding. I continue to collaborate with others who are nationally board certified. My goal is to renew before 2028, and that was something I learned with the last renewal. I renewed the year before in case I needed more time or in case I needed to retake. And I do think that this is one way for teachers to consider growing and being better prepared for their kids, especially in our fast-paced world with all of the demands on our kids and their futures. And so I hope that we can continue to support our teachers who are being brave enough to take this on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I had a couple questions, Dr. Sanchez. Is there a period of time between your unfortunate pass, you didn't pass? Is there a time you have to wait, a waiting period before you retake the exam?
Is it on again? Yeah. I was able to take the next year.
Okay.
So I just rewrote one component. I kind of played with my points. I needed 8 more, and so one component would
That was
take
my
care of that.
follow-on question. What did you tweak? going?
So I know where I really struggled, and it was the online test. And I'll be honest, as an educator, I was not happy with some of their test questions. I think there was some editing that could have happened. But who am I to say, right? So yeah, I decided to do the component because it was the best way to, come out successfully and complete.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. Do you think that the process might change at all now that Maryland has adopted this program, with full force, and that there will be more people going for it? Do you see, like, I know there'd be more resources for teachers and that more of the team concept and the like, but do you see it changing at all from what you went through?
Well, and it was very different when I went through it in, 2007, 2008. It's much better now, I would say. And I think one of the key components is what's being provided, and that is support, as well as, if Dr. Sampson and I were in the same building, I might say, I'll do it if you do it. And I'm seeing a lot of that with colleagues. And that's how I did so well the second time, is that I really partnered with that other colleague. I don't think I would have done as well without her, because we kept pushing each other in our writing, in our timeline. It was kind of like coaching each other, I would say. So I think it's better, and I think it will keep evolving.
Yeah, I'm hoping people don't see it, the teachers don't see it as this huge time sink and luckily, that there is that bonus, at the end.
That's a huge help for our teachers, because many work, second jobs. I will say that there's more than one way to do it. You can break it up over time, which anyone who asks me that, unless they have huge time constraints, I would say go for it. Put yourself under pressure and push yourself to finish in a year if you can, just so that you can do that retake. Because to commit for 2 or 3 years, that's a huge undertaking. So there are options. It's nice to have options, but.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think that's probably very helpful to those that are considering. So.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.